the quiet revolution. For most of human history, progress was visible. The steam engine was loud, factories were loud, cars were loud. Even computers were once giant machines filling entire rooms. But the next revolution did not arrive with noise. It arrived silently, inside software. No explosion, no global announcement, no single invention. Just one morning, machines began to understand. Not perfectly, not consciously, but enough. And that was the moment the 21st century truly began. The first time humans stopped being the only intelligence. For 300,000 years, humans shared the planet with animals stronger than them, faster than them, more resilient than them. But there was one advantage humans always had: the ability to think abstractly, planning, language, problem-solving. Civilization itself exists because intelligence could not be automated until now. By the mid-2020s, machines crossed a boundary. They no longer just followed instructions. They began generating solutions. And that distinction changes everything, because tools amplify strength. But intelligence amplifies creation, the automation threshold. In earlier technological eras, machines replaced muscle. Agriculture replaced hunters. Factories replaced craftsmen. Computers replaced calculators. But now, machines are replacing decisions. Scheduling, designing, diagnosing, researching, negotiating, writing, programming. By 2026, nearly every knowledge profession on Earth will interact daily with artificial intelligence, not as a tool, but as a collaborator. The world is not entering automation. The world is entering delegation. At first, artificial intelligence only helped humans. It suggested words. It corrected mistakes. It answered questions. But sometime in the mid-2020s, the relationship changed. AI stopped waiting for instructions and began completing intentions. You no longer had to say, write an email. You could say, handle this client. And the system would read past conversations, understand tone, draft a reply, schedule a meeting, prepare a document, and send it. The machine was no longer assisting the task. It was performing the job. These systems became known as agents. Not programs, not chatbots. Digital entities capable of multi-step reasoning. An agent can search the web, compare sources, open software, fill forms, communicate with other systems, make decisions based on goals. And most importantly, it continues working after you leave. For the first time, humans created workers that never needed supervision. Soon after agents appeared, a strange phenomenon began. Companies started running with almost no staff. A single founder could launch a service. AI handled customer support. AI managed billing. AI wrote marketing. AI optimized ads. AI analyzed sales. AI generated product updates. Humans became strategists. Machines became operators. The idea of employment began separating from the idea of productivity. Work without offices. For centuries, work required a location. Factories required buildings. Offices required desks. But AI agents live in servers. A business no longer needed a headquarters. Teams formed globally by default. Time zones stopped mattering. Operations ran continuously. The workday became optional. The collapse of busy work. Modern economies contain enormous amounts of repetitive activity. Copying data, scheduling meetings, sorting files, updating records. By 2026, most of these tasks disappear from human responsibility, not because they were automated individually, but because they were automated collectively. Agents manage workflows end to end. Humans only intervene when judgment is required. Work becomes decision-based instead of action-based. The biggest change was not job loss, it was job redesign. Instead of do, review, deliver, work became define, approve, improve. Humans moved upward in abstraction. People stopped being operators. They became directors. Soon, agents stopped working alone. They began working together. One AI researched, another planned, another executed, another verified. A team composed entirely of software. Humans interacted with the team as a single entity. Organizations made of intelligence rather than people. The speed problem. As automation increased, a new challenge appeared. Humans could not keep up. Decisions that once took days were proposed in seconds. Reports that once took weeks arrived instantly. companies faced a paradox. They were limited not by machines, but by human response time. Management itself had to evolve. Trust becomes the bottleneck. When machines act autonomously, the key question changes. Not, can it do the task, but, can we trust the outcome? Verification systems emerged. AI checking AI, audit layers, confidence scores. The economy began valuing reliability. The first autonomous economy. Eventually, parts of the economy began operating without direct human input. Supply chains auto-adjust, prices self-optimize, energy grids self-balance, logistics reroute dynamically. Humans set policies. Systems executed civilization. This was not artificial general intelligence, but it was artificial independence. Part 3. When cities start thinking. The rise of responsive cities. For thousands of years, cities were static. Roads were fixed. Traffic lights were timed. Electric grids reacted slowly. Water systems operated blindly. But by 2026, cities are no longer passive environments. They are responsive systems. Powered by billions of connected sensors and AI-driven analytics, modern cities are beginning to behave like living organisms. 30 billion eyes and ears. By 2026, there are projected to be over 30 billion IoT devices operating globally. These are not just smartphones. They are smart traffic cameras, environmental air sensors, utility meters. Every intersection, building, warehouse, and vehicle becomes part of a vast data network. The city begins collecting information about itself, continuously. And with AI interpreting that data in milliseconds, cities begin making decisions autonomously. Traffic that thinks. One of the most visible transformations is traffic control. In places like Singapore, AI-powered traffic systems already adjust signal timing dynamically based on congestion levels. By 2026, these systems expand globally. Instead of fixed timers, lights respond to vehicle density, emergency vehicles, public transport priority, pedestrian flow, weather conditions. If a road becomes congested, surrounding signals adjust instantly. If an accident occurs, routes reconfigure automatically. Warehouses without managers. Smart infrastructure extends beyond roads. In logistics hubs powered by companies like AWS and Verizon, warehouses operate with minimal human oversight. AI monitors inventory levels, shelf movement, supply chain delays. When stock runs low, systems reorder automatically. When demand spikes in one region, shipments reroute in real time. Warehouses transform into intelligent ecosystems. Human managers become supervisors of algorithms. The smart pole revolution. In South Korea, smart poles are already replacing traditional streetlights. By 2026, this model expands across major global cities. These poles monitor air quality, measure noise levels, provide 5G connectivity. Instead of scattered infrastructure, cities consolidate intelligence into modular systems. Streetlights become data nodes. Urban space becomes programmable. Energy grids that self-balance. Traditional energy grids were centralized and slow to respond. If demand surged unexpectedly, blackouts followed. But modern grids increasingly integrate. Real-time demand monitoring, AI-driven load balancing. Solar panels, wind farms, and local batteries communicate with grid AI systems that adjust distribution instantly. When consumption rises in one district, energy reroutes automatically. Electricity becomes intelligently distributed. Water systems that detect themselves. Water infrastructure is aging in many countries. Leaks cost billions annually. AI-powered sensors now monitor water pressure and flow patterns in real time. If abnormal usage appears, systems detect. Leaks, pipe bursts. Instead of waiting for human inspection, alerts trigger instantly. Maintenance shifts from reactive to predictive. Infrastructure stops failing unexpectedly. It begins preventing failure before it occurs. Privacy in a connected world. As cities become smarter, a critical question emerges. Who owns the data? With billions of sensors capturing movement, traffic, temperature, and behavior, governments face growing regulatory pressure. Privacy. First, AI becomes essential. Technologies now emphasize local data processing, anonymized aggregation, edge-based analysis, encrypted transmission. AI models increasingly run directly on infrastructure hardware rather than sending raw data to centralized servers. Compliance becomes foundational. Digital twins of entire cities. One of the most powerful innovations emerging toward 2026 is the concept of digital twins. Cities are now being replicated in virtual space. Every road, building, utility line, and traffic system is modeled digitally. These simulations allow governments to test new road layouts, flood scenarios, energy demands, emergency evacuations. Before physical changes occur, AI runs simulations to predict outcomes. Urban planning moves from guesswork to computation. Climate monitoring at planetary scale. Smart infrastructure extends beyond cities into planetary systems. Global sensor networks track ocean temperatures, ice sheet thickness, deforestation, methane emissions, wildfire risks. AI models process these inputs. Antarctic ice melt, for example, is now monitored via satellite systems capable of measuring millimeter-level changes in ice mass. In the last 25 years, over 3 trillion tons of Antarctic ice have melted. By 2026, predictive climate AI helps governments model scenarios. The emergence of autonomous public safety. AI-enhanced surveillance systems now identify unattended objects, unusual crowd behavior, traffic violations, emergency incidents. Behavioral anomaly detection becomes more common. When emergencies occur, response systems auto-dispatch resources. Smart infrastructure reduces reaction time from minutes to seconds, but ethical oversight remains crucial. As capability increases, governance must mature equally. A world that reacts to you. The defining shift of 2026 is not simply automation, it is responsiveness. Cities adjust traffic around you. Power grids anticipate your usage. Infrastructure predicts failure before it happens. Public systems adapt dynamically. The environment begins reacting to human presence in real time. The line between static space and intelligent system dissolves. Urban life becomes a feedback loop between people and machines. The human question: do we remain operators, or do we become architects of algorithms? The smartest cities are not those with the most sensors. They are those that balance intelligence with transparency. Technology alone does not create progress. Governance, ethics, and accountability define its impact. By 2026, cities no longer merely house intelligence. They are infused with it. Humanity enters a new phase of coexistence. Part 4. The body becomes a platform. Medicine moves from hospitals to humans. For most of history, medicine happened only after symptoms appeared. But by 2026, healthcare changes direction. It becomes predictive instead of reactive. Instead of waiting for disease, technology begins watching the body continuously, quietly, invisibly, every second. Healthcare no longer lives in hospitals. The human body becomes a real-time data stream. Wearables become medical devices. Early wearables counted steps. Modern wearables monitor life, heart rate variability, sleep cycles, stress levels, blood oxygen, skin temperature. But the real shift is interpretation. AI analyzes patterns across weeks and months, not just moments. Instead of telling you what happened, it tells you what is about to happen. Some wearables can detect early illness days before symptoms appear by identifying micro-changes in temperature and heart variability. For the first time in history, sickness becomes predictable, blood without needles. One of the major barriers has always been invasive testing. By 2026, continuous monitoring evolves toward non-invasive sensing. Glucose trends, blood pressure patterns, hydration levels. Health moves from snapshots to a movie, a flowing record of physiology. Doctors no longer see a single moment in time. They see your biological story. AI that understands your baseline. Traditional medicine compares patients to population averages, but averages are often meaningless. AI now builds a personal baseline, a digital physiological fingerprint. If your heart rate slightly deviates from your own pattern, alerts trigger. Healthcare becomes personalized, not by treatment, but by detection. The system learns you first, disease second. Early detection before symptoms. Hospitals increasingly deploy AI systems that detect early warning signs for sepsis, cardiac instability, and respiratory decline, hours before visible symptoms. In critical care, minutes save lives. By 2026, predictive alerts allow doctors to intervene earlier than human observation would allow. The goal is no longer faster treatment, it is preventing crisis entirely. Medical imaging gets a second pair of eyes. Artificial intelligence is transforming diagnostics. Models trained on millions of images can identify patterns invisible to human perception. Doctors gain augmented perception. Retinal scans reveal signs not only of eye disease, but systemic conditions, including cardiovascular risk and neurological disorders. Medicine shifts from interpretation to decision-making. Treatment tailored to DNA. AI now analyzes genomic data to predict drug effectiveness, side effect risk, and optimal dosage. Cancer therapy increasingly adapts to individual tumor biology. Treatment becomes customized biology. Instead of fighting disease broadly, medicine targets it precisely. Many of these capabilities rely on local computation, called edge AI. Instead of sending sensitive health data to distant servers, processing occurs directly inside devices. Lower latency, greater privacy, continuous operation. Medical intelligence moves to personal ownership. Hospitals without walls. Remote monitoring allows patients to remain at home while doctors track recovery metrics. Beds in hospitals become reserved for acute cases. Homes transform into extension clinics. Mental health meets continuous feedback. Wearables detect stress patterns through heart variability and breathing rhythms. AI systems suggest rest timing, breathing exercises, and activity adjustments. Prevention, rather than burnout. The ethical frontier of human data. If your body constantly produces data, who stores it? Who profits from it? Healthcare technology becomes a societal challenge. Transparency becomes as vital as accuracy. The new definition of health. Health is no longer defined by absence of illness. It becomes defined by stability of patterns. Small deviations trigger awareness. Large deviations trigger intervention. The human body becomes a living system continuously understood. Medicine transitions from episodic repair to continuous partnership. As machines quietly watch our biology, healthcare transforms from emergency response to lifelong guidance. Part 5. Robots enter the physical workforce, from tools to co-workers. For decades, machines helped humans by amplifying strength, but robots in 2026 are different. They do not just extend muscle, they execute intention. Factories once automated individual steps. Now, automation performs entire tasks. Machines no longer assist work, they perform work. And for the first time, the fastest growing workforce on Earth is not human. The shortage that forced automation. Aging populations and declining interest in repetitive jobs created a gap. Warehouses, agriculture, logistics, retail, all needed workers. Robotics did not replace workers first. It filled vacancies. Warehouse intelligence. The modern warehouse is a coordinated ecosystem. Robots navigate aisles using vision and spatial mapping. They adapt to changing inventory layouts. The warehouse transforms into a living algorithm. Robots that walk. Real environments are messy. Stairs, ramps, uneven ground. New bipedal robots change this. They balance dynamically. They are built because human environments were designed for human legs. Dexterity, the final barrier. Hands define human capability. Modern robotic manipulators now combine vision recognition, force sensing, adaptive grip. Instead of rigidly grabbing, they feel contact. The physical world becomes computable. Retail without repetition. Autonomous scanning robots now move aisles overnight, identifying missing products. Employees shift from inventory counting to customer assistance. Automation removes the invisible labor. Delivery leaves the road. Small autonomous couriers travel sidewalks delivering food. They map terrain in real time and avoid pedestrians. The last mile becomes distributed, quiet, and continuous. Agriculture becomes precision. Farming once required large crews. Robotic agriculture shifts focus from scale to accuracy. Machines identify individual plants and apply nutrients only where needed. Food production moves towards surgical efficiency, human-robot collaboration. Cobots operate safely beside people. Robots handle repetition. Humans handle judgment. Productivity comes not from replacement, but from complementarity. The economics of scale. By 2026, cost curves fall rapidly. Standardization and mass production reduce barriers. Automation is no longer exclusive to industrial giants. Small businesses begin participating. The invisible workforce. Most people will never see the majority of robots shaping their lives. They operate at night, in warehouses. Automation's impact is measured in reliability rather than spectacle. The more seamless systems become, the less visible they appear. Work redefined. When machines take over repetition, human labor shifts toward supervision, creativity, decision-making. The nature of skill evolves from physical endurance to adaptive thinking. Society moves from muscle economy to cognition economy. The question of balance. Robots once existed behind fences. Now they enter shared space, not as machines replacing humanity, but as infrastructure supporting it. The Industrial Revolution mechanized power. This revolution mechanizes action. Part 6. The global AI economy and autonomous agents, from software tools to digital workers. Early software waited for commands. You clicked, it responded. Modern AI agents in 2026 behave differently. You describe a goal, not instructions. The system plans steps, executes actions, monitors results, and adjusts strategy. Instead of using programs, humans begin assigning work. The computer shifts from calculator to operator. Delegation becomes the interface. Typing commands becomes inefficient. People now communicate intent. Prepare my report. Compare suppliers. Plan a trip. The AI gathers data, evaluates options, and produces outcomes. Interaction becomes management. Multi-step reasoning systems. Earlier automation handled single tasks. Autonomous agents link them together. They break large problems into smaller sub-problems and verify results. The computer becomes a workflow engine. Companies inside software. Entire business operations begin running within AI orchestration layers. Customer support replies automatically. Invoices generate themselves. Humans supervise exceptions. Businesses operate as living systems. The rise of the personal agent. Each individual begins to maintain a persistent digital assistant, not just answering questions, remembering preferences, habits, and priorities. It tracks commitments, negotiates bookings. Technology adapts to the person. Decision compression. Previously, complex decisions required hours of research. Now the process compresses, data gathered instantly, trade-offs explained. Humans review conclusions rather than collect information. The bottleneck shifts from access to judgment. Markets react faster. Economic activity accelerates when decisions accelerate. Supply chains adjust in near real time. Pricing updates dynamically. Markets become less periodic and more continuous. Economies move closer to live systems. Negotiation by algorithms. Many agreements once handled by people now occur between agents. Software negotiates delivery windows and pricing. Humans approve boundaries. Agents handle details. Commerce transitions from conversation to computation. Knowledge work changes form. Traditional office work involved searching and drafting. AI agents assume this structure. Humans focus on defining direction. The role shifts from producing information to validating meaning. Understanding replaces assembly. Continuous productivity. Unlike human schedules, digital agents operate without interruption. Reports update overnight. Monitoring never pauses. Output becomes steady rather than periodic. The concept of busy hours weakens. The new competitive advantage. Advantage now increasingly comes from orchestration. The organizations best able to coordinate humans and AI agents outperform others. Intelligence becomes infrastructure. Personal time expands, or fills. Automation frees hours once spent on routine organization. Whether those hours become leisure or productivity depends on culture. Technology does not determine pace, society does. The tools accelerate potential. The emergence of micro-enterprises. Individuals gain capabilities once limited to companies. One person can operate research, marketing, and customer interaction simultaneously. The barrier to entrepreneurship lowers dramatically. Organization size becomes less important. Trust and verification. As agents act independently, verification becomes essential. Systems log decisions and reasoning steps. Humans audit outcomes rather than actions. Confidence shifts to transparent oversight. Reliability becomes a technical discipline. The human role remains central. Even as automation expands, humans define goals and priorities. Meaning remains human. The economy transitions from effort-driven to coordination-driven. The intelligent age amplifies agency. The workforce includes entities that never sleep. Thanks for watching Infinite Knowledge. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content.